James Rees from Overtime Heroics MMA. I'm here today with Sparta Welterweight champion Archie Colgan. How's things with you? All right, mate?
Yeah, things are going great. I fought 2 weeks ago. Just getting back into the gym this week. Took the last week off just to recover. It was not that I got hurt in the fight, but just to mentally prepare for going back to training. So yeah, I feel good. Everything feels great.
Yeah, it's great to hear. Also celebrated your birthday this week, if I remember right, yeah?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, my birthday is July 22nd. So 2 days ago, I just turned 25.
Oh, so a good bit of timing just after the fight camp then, so you could enjoy yourself a little bit as well, yeah?
Exactly. That's perfect.
Well, what we'd like to do here, just have a little look at your background, so you can tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you was a standout high school wrestler.
Yep.
So sort of give us a bit of a background on yourself, basically, how we began.
Yeah, of course. So I grew up out here in Denver, Colorado, and I started wrestling from the age of 4. So I've been wrestling ever since, I can remember what life is. I went all the way through high school, and I was a high school state champion, high school All-American. And then I graduate from high school, and I get a scholarship to go to the University of Wyoming. So I go to Wyoming, and I wrestled there for 5 years. I redshirt my first year, and then I'm the starter for the next 4 years. End up being a 2-time NCAA qualifier. I won the Big 12 tournament, and I was the round of 12 loser. So what that means is that I lost in triple overtime to become an All-American in college. So kind of sucks, but that's a bit of the journey. Obviously, behind it, there's a lot of ups and downs, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those ups and downs obviously help define your character as well, don't they? So obviously with such a high standout background in wrestling, then where did MMA come from? How did that come about?
Do you say where did MMA come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up watching boxing and MMA. As a kid, I used to always love watching Rampage Jackson fight, and I just always wanted to do it. I grew up I'm not gonna say I grew up fighting and I was just some kid who was getting expelled from school doing that kind of stuff, because I wasn't. I was a pretty good student and I did things right. But when the bells rang and school got out, all my friends, we would go back and we would fight and go put on boxing gloves and fight and do all stuff. So I've always just been interested in it, and I love the science to it. And I'm doing it from a competitive edge and not just a raw fighter edge.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, you've talked to it like a duck to water, as they say. Really, I mean, you're amateur 3-0 at the moment, so all wins, all first round stoppages as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely going in the right direction, that's for sure. Made your debut against Julian Colgan, and obviously an early finish. How did you feel going into that fight with it being your first MMA bout then?
It felt good. It was a weird feeling. I've never been that nervous before in my life, and I've competed wrestling in front of crowds as big as 20,000 people and as small as 100 people, but I've never been that nervous before. I woke up at like 9 a.m. and at about 10 a.m. I got some butterflies in my stomach. You guys have been to like the top of a roller coaster and you're about to go down and you get those butterflies when you're going down? It was like that all day, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this. But I went out there, and then right when I started walking out, everything went away, and I wasn't nervous anymore. I competed against another tough guy. I think he was also a Division I wrestler. So went out there, performed well, and then fight 2, the nerves weren't there like that. And fight 3, nerves weren't there like that. Performed better, I think, under my eyes each time. So I'm just excited to keep progressing.
Yeah, and obviously, like as we've said, wrestling is sort of your main skill then.
Yeah,
And what I find quite strange, well, not so much strange, but quite impressive then about your 3 wins is very little wrestling has really been used, other than obviously leading up to the finish of Jamal Shaw,
yeah,
where he slammed him with two really hefty slams before the ground and
yeah,
pound.
yeah.
Um, is that sort of something? Is there a plan you're going in there with? Are you sort of trying to stray away from the wrestling a bit to make yourself less predictable, or is it just the instinct taking over?
No, yeah, not at all. I want to wrestle. You know, I want to. Wrestling's tiring. It's really, if you don't know how to wrestle and somebody's just on top of you mauling you, it's exhausting. So I don't want to get away from the wrestling, and my plan is not to get away from the wrestling, but I've developed striking really well so far, and it all starts in your feet. So, you know, my last this last fight was our plan was to, you know, to strike a little bit, take him down, and then submit him because they said that he was a good jujitsu guy. But um, you know, at the same time, if the strikes are gonna get it done, then you know I'm just gonna have to take what I can get.
Yeah, and the strikes most definitely got it done in that one for sure. Was it 25 seconds? Do I remember right? Was that how long it lasted?
Yeah, I think 28 is what the official time said. Is what they said.
Yeah, he definitely was. He was in a bit of a rush that night, was he?
Yeah, I got after that one.
So obviously, your main training academy is Genesis.
Yeah.
You're also amateur coach there, am I right?
Yes.
What's it like at that facility? What makes that place so special for you?
Yeah. So the main thing for me is I really have a really good coach. His name's Justin Salas, who he was a, you know, a past MMA fighter who was a wrestler beforehand from the University of Wyoming, actually also. So we have a good click, and he fought in the UFC, and we just ran into each other out here, and he started training me, and you know we really hit it off, and he brought me over to Genesis, which he knew the other coaching staff that was there and some of the athletes, and he thought that was a good place for me to be, and I believe in him, and since then he's right. You know, there's the facility is really growing. You know, maybe a year ago we were in a whole other facility. It was pretty small, compact, and now we're in a lot bigger facility. And now they're even thinking about knocking the wall down and making the facility bigger. So, you know, it's a growing facility. I think a lot of people are going to probably catch eyes to this in the next year or two, and want to kind of migrate over to us. But um, we just have good coaching over there, and good people who believe in their athletes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it seems like a really good setup from what I've seen about it so far. Um, you've spent some time recently training with some of the real savages of MMA, then in Justin Gaethje and Grant Neal. Um, what's it like to train with people of that caliber and obviously the really high reputations?
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It lets me understand, you know, where I'm at and how far I need to go, and how far I've also come. Because from Grant, I probably started sparring him, you know, 2 months into learning how to strike, and you know he's a few years into it. So, you know, I sparred him then, and I've sparred him now, and I can really see the progression that I've made. And with Gaethje, you know, I've sparred him a few times. I did a lot of wrestling workouts with him for his last fight, and you know he's the same. He's maybe a little bit more of a better field because he's my size, and Grant's, you know, 50 pounds bigger than me. But yeah, and Grant's like an inch taller than me, 50 pounds bigger than me. So, you know, he's a hard guy to go with for me. But you know, with Gaethje, I mean, he's just a good guy. Um, he he's just a good partner, and understands that I'm growing in this sport, and he's kind of at the top, and um, yeah, I mean, I like going with him.
Yeah, I mean, both guys seem to have been very vocal about your career and the path it's taken at the moment. How, did they come to Genesis, or did you go over to Elevation MMA to train with them?
So with Gaethje, he came to Genesis one time, And then Grant, he's from Genesis, so we're at the practice every day together. So Grant and I are always together. And then some of most of the practices I had with Gaethje are done at Onyx Labs. So that's Trevor Whitman, Gaethje's coach. He owns his own location where he makes his gloves and all that out of, and it's called Onyx Sports. And he has a small gym in there with just enough mat space to get some sparring and wrestling in. So that's where I get most of the work, or I've gotten most of the work with Gaethje.
Yeah. What do you sort of find is the biggest difference between sparring against, say, a high level MMA athlete and someone that's gone on to that next step along the lines of Justin Gaethje? What would you say is the main difference in sparring between those two different styles of fighters?
They don't the higher level guys don't throw as much, but they're more accurate with their throws in sparring, at least. They're kind of picking and choosing, and when they hit, it's gonna hit, and they don't really quit. So like if I take somebody down in my normal sparring goes, I can probably stay on top for a long time and do what I have to do. But on a guy of a higher level, they want to make sure that they can get back up to their feet. So they're going to keep pushing and keep pushing. And obviously, maybe I can ride them out the whole time, but it's going to be a lot harder on me than it was the other guy. Or, these guys are going to keep coming forward, where I'm usually the guy who's coming forward in my other spars. So it's kind of like, I think the biggest difference is their accuracy and their precision.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Obviously, as we've mentioned, your most recent fight was just over 2 weeks ago. Is there any sort of plans going forward at the moment as to when you're going to fight next, or is that sort of a work in progress?
It's still a work in progress. Hopefully I can fight maybe like October. So my plan is right now is I'm getting married in September, beginning of September. So I'm not taking any fights until then. And then after September, if I could fight late October, that would give me, because I'll be training this whole time, just, not a training camp mode. So right after my wedding ends, I can kind of get right into training camp mode and take a fight, and just really focus on the conditioning and everything, because I'll be doing everything else in the meantime. So ideally October, late October, not just the beginning. So I can give myself like a full 6 weeks or something like that of a real training camp. But who knows what's going to happen, especially with COVID and stuff. So, October, November, December, anything in there, let's go.
Yeah, that has been the big problem at the moment, really, isn't it? How much has it sort of affected you where you were from, your area? Is it created as big as a problem in some places? Has it put everything on hold?
It did for a little bit, yeah. It did for a while. They just came out with an announcement again that you have to wear a mask everywhere you go. You can't really even sit down outside of a fast food restaurant. I went to a fast food restaurant, on Sunday, and I sat outside with my friend, and the lady came out and told us we had to leave because we're not allowed to be there anymore. So I don't know. It's I think sporting events are slowly making their way back, but life as itself changed a lot. But I think that was kind of everywhere for a little bit, for that like month or two period where everything kind of got shut down. And right now, the only real difference to me is that everybody's wearing a mask.
Yeah, it's all crazy, really, isn't it? I mean, you can get inside a cage and grapple with someone for 10, 15 minutes, but you can't sit outside McDonald's and have a quick takeaway, like.
I know, right? It's funny. Like, you gotta, before you leave your house, you gotta make sure you got your phone, you got your keys, you got your mask. You're like, oh man, I forgot my mask. I gotta forgot my mask.
All part of life, getting used to it now, mate, isn't it?
No.
What I'd like to finish off with for you then is, what's your ambitions with MMA? Where do you see yourself wanting to go, and where would you like to look back in, say, 10, 15 years time and say, that's what I've got, that's my achievements?
Yeah, I want to be the best that my abilities will let me be. And you know, I think that's a pretty high level. So I want to be, the best. I don't want to just train this to be a mediocre guy, or the guy with, a 500 record, or a guy who's um, you know, barely making it, that kind of stuff. I don't want to, that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I truly believe that I can be the best. And I think my work ethic will match that and prove that. And I believe in my athletic ability also behind that. So I'm doing it to be the best, and I'm gonna pound away until I get there.
Do you see yourself? Is your plans at welterweight, or are you flexible with the weight division you're looking at going for?
Yeah, no, I'll be a lightweight eventually. I just don't want to. I'm only like a year and 3 months into training, MMA. So I wanted to really take the time to learn the sport instead of focusing on cutting weight right away. So I wanted to make sure that I'm going to my practices and taking away what I can take away, and not just going there and be like, oh man, I got 3 pounds to lose. I got 5 pounds to lose. I got, 2 pounds to lose, whatever it is. I just go in there and I focus on getting better, and I get better every practice. And, I normally weigh like 175. So I'm not cutting weight like at all. So yes, the future is going to be at lightweight.
That's good to hear, and it's a great attitude to have. Obviously, taking it one step at a time. You're not trying to rush yourself.
Yeah.
You do it the right way, really. Well, look, Archie, really want to thank you for coming on here today. We appreciate your overtime aerobics that you coming on here. I hope everything goes the way you want it. Good luck with your wedding in September.
Thank you.
I hope to catch up with you again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me, and I hope you have a good day.
Thank you very much, mate. Have a good day.
All right, you too.